Greetings, everyone, and welcome to the Produce Buzzers podcast. We are so happy you have joined us today, and I think you will be too after the show is over, because you will learn a lot about fresh fruits and vegetables, how to select and store them, how to prepare and cook them, and surprising facts about their history and origin. We hope it inspires you to eat more fresh fruits and vegetables, not only for your health, but also for your delight and pleasure as you explore their amazing world of taste and delicious flavors. Eating more of them will transform your life in so many positive ways. So settle back, relax, and get ready for another delicious adventure with the Produce Buzzers. Greetings and welcome to another delicious episode of the Produce Buzzers podcast. I'm Edwin Stepp, your host and executive editor of ProduceBuzz.com. I'm joined once again by Teresa Nolan, the president and founder of Produce Buzz, along with Rick Stepp and Cynthia Benedetto, both contributing editors to Produce Buzz. Now, Produce Buzzers podcast fans, you know that all the Produce Buzzers just absolutely love avocados. The four of us spent several years promoting and merchandising them in the 1990s, helping to increase awareness and popularity at a time when they were not so well known or consumed in the United States. We believe that our work was pivotal in beginning their rise to stardom in the fruit and veggie world. I eat avocados nearly every day, and I think if I was to be marooned on a desert island and had to answer that age-old hypothetical question, if you could only take one food, what would it be? Well, you know my answer: avocados. We've featured avocados on the podcast several times and shared our recipes and tips for how to select, store, and prepare them. But today, we have one of the world's foremost experts on the program to take that info up several notches and tell you all about them, give you great advice on how to select, store, and prepare them, and point you to some really exciting promotions coming in the next week that you can take advantage of. Stephanie Bazan leads the shopper and trade marketing for Avocados from Mexico. Under her leadership and strategic vision, Avocados from Mexico has driven Mexican avocado demand and accelerated the fruit's popularity to record levels. Mexico is by far the leading producer of avocados in the world. They grow almost 2.5 times as many as the second and third largest producers, Colombia and Peru. And they grow over 15 times more avocados than the United States. And most importantly, the quality of Mexican avocados is superior. As most of you probably know, the week of Super Bowl is the biggest week for sales of avocados in the United States. There are a lot of choices for snacks and meals for America's biggest annual TV event, but fans know that avocados and guacamole are a must-have on the table. And that's good for them because avocados are one of the healthiest foods you can eat, unlike perhaps a lot of the other dishes on that party menu. So we are lucky to have Stephanie on the big show right before Super Bowl 59 to help us all prepare our avocado dishes for the big game. As a professional with more than 20 years of marketing experience in domestic and international markets, Stephanie has extensive experience in many industries, including food and beverage. She has an MBA in international marketing from the University of Dallas, a BA from NYU, and continuing education certificates from Yale University, the Kellogg School of Management at Northwestern University, and Stanford University. Welcome to the show, Stephanie. Thanks for joining us.
Oh, thank you. I'm super excited to be here today, to be with all of you, to talk about my favorite fruit, the avocado.
Well, I'm glad it's yours. I figured it might be yours as well. It's like ambrosia, the food of the gods, isn't it?
It is, it is. And definitely this time of the year, it's all things avocados as we get ready for the big event that you just mentioned called the Super Bowl.
Right. Okay, we're going to dive in and learn all about avocados from Mexico. But first, I want to know more about Stephanie. Tell us about yourself. What is your
Yeah.
background? How did you come to work for Avocados from Mexico?
Yeah. Well, thank you for asking. My background is one that actually had a start up in the Northeast. I hail from New York, and spent quite a bit of time doing some work in international markets after I finished my BA at NYU, and really came just had a became very passionate about Latin America and the culture, the food, the people, and really at that point understood that I wanted to gear my career towards products and services that were geared more to the Latin American audience. Fast forward several years, came back to the United States after spending a stint working in Argentina, Peru, and even Chile, and I decided to go work in the Hispanic marketing space. It was in the late 90s, and at the time, it was the brands were really leveraging the culture trend that was happening in the Hispanic marketing space. And so decided I wanted to become more of an expert in that, having my international background. And really my background is rooted basically in products that are, have some sort of Hispanic heritage. And since then worked for consumer packaged goods like Dr. Pepper, Snapple Group at the time, and really gave him spent some time there with my expertise on how to adapt their products to the Hispanic market. And then after that, went to go work for the number one corn flour company in the world called Gruma Corporation. They're based here in
Wow.
Dallas. They market mission tortillas and Guerrero tortillas towards the Hispanic audience, and led their Guerrero tortilla line for several years, again, geared towards the Hispanic market. And after that, avocados from Mexico came calling, and my background in, again, products that are rooted in Hispanic heritage really attracted me. And obviously, avocados are wonderful fruit, a healthy fruit, and I really wanted to basically apply my skills in the produce industry. So, and that's what I felt like I could bring some of that talent that I had working all those years in international markets and on Hispanic products to help avocados from Mexico, be put on the map as it is today.
Fantastic. That's great. So you moved to
Yeah.
Dallas before you went to work for Avocados from Mexico.
Yes. I moved to Dallas. Oh, it was in the late 90s. So I would say now I'm a Texan.
Okay. Not a New Yorker anymore. That's good.
Yeah.
Anyway, so well did you grow up speaking Spanish? I'm sure you speak Spanish now, but was there
Yes. Actually, that's a great point, and I think that's one of the things that really helped open up my career in the space is speaking Spanish. My mother is from the Caribbean, and
Hmm.
just having the exposure of, and the fortune of having been brought up in a Hispanic household, really helped me understand kind of the Hispanic culture, and the language obviously was a plus.
Yeah. Well, the Hispanic Latino community is so varied. There's so many different cultures. It's still quite a challenge for you, I'm sure, to bridge all those gaps in marketing because you can't market just one way to all those cultures, can you?
No, you don't. And that's really where, you really need to understand the different cultures, and it starts with insights, right? Really need to understand what are those insights, passion points, levers that you can pull to really try to connect emotionally with those segments. And so, it's a little bit of marketing magic, right?
Yeah.
So how do we connect and build brands by connecting with them emotionally? And there's ways to do that. And I think that that's what I love about avocados, because not only is there this huge opportunity, to grow demand with the general market, but also maintain the consumption with Hispanics. And with Hispanics, they love, as you know, you don't have to tell them to eat an avocado. It's a staple dish, just like tortillas was a staple dish.
Yeah.
It's really about reminding them about the heritage and the culture piece and connecting with them emotionally. And especially as this as the Hispanic segment biculturates and becomes a bit more acculturated, we
Right.
try to use and remind them that the avocado is a culture. It's really like a cultural bridge, if you will, to their heritage. And so, we try to remind, don't forget to put avocados on all the great things that you're eating, whether it's burgers or pizzas or salads, because that could be the bridge to your heritage and culture.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, that's great. Well, tell us about Avocados from Mexico as an organization. What's its purpose, and what can you tell us about what the
Yeah.
organization
So,
does?
Avocados from Mexico is the number one selling brand of avocados in the US. It's known as a nonprofit marketing organization. A little bit of fun facts and tidbits. It was in 1997, the ban on avocados was lifted. And in 2000, fast forward a few years later, the Haas Avocado Research Promotion and Research Act was formed by Congress. And all these kind of milestones that happen in the avocado industry led to Avocados from Mexico being born in 2013. And it was born in 2013. And what's interesting about this, and I'll explain here and go into detail in a second, is that it's the only company in the US history that was formed by two foreign companies through the US government. So the two entities are the growers and packers, what we call APAM, the Association of Packers and Growers in Mexico,
Hmm.
and the second entity, which is called MAHIA, the Mexican Hass Avocado Importer Association, that represents over 200 suppliers here in the US.
Okay.
They, those two entities came together to form Avocados from Mexico in 2013, and all of this with oversight um, from the USDA or the government, right?
Oh,
So
well,
it's
that's
a
very
very
interesting.
interesting model.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very interesting model. And we are basically the marketing, if you think of us as the marketing and arm for the brand. And our purpose exists in a way to drive create brand equity and also drive demand of the category in the US. At the end of the day, if we can help, create demand in the US, we're helping not only avocados from Mexico, but all avocado origins. Our
Ah,
role our role in the industry is to ensure that the value of the fruit is staying high so that all avocado origins can benefit from that. So yeah, we it's a very interesting concept the way we were formed, and yeah,
yeah.
we
The-
continue since 2014 when I came on board. I've been now 11 years with Avocados from Mexico. We've seen some amazing growth in the 10 years that I've been here.
yeah, you certainly have. I didn't realize it was that. I didn't realize it was so new. 2013. I thought you guys had been
Yeah.
around a
I
lot longer than
agree.
that.
I was like
Yeah.
2013. God, I was.
And the
Yeah.
progress you've made has really been fantastic. So congratulations on it. You've been with them from almost the very beginning, it sounds like.
Almost the very beginning, yes.
Yeah.
I came on board shortly after our CEO, Alvaro Luque, was hired back at the end of
Oh,
2013.
okay. So he's been there almost from the beginning too. I met him
Yes.
at IFPA, the produce show. Very nice. We had a great conversation. Very nice to meet him. So, well, okay. So Mexican avocados. I mentioned, and I hope I have my figures right. Please correct me if I didn't, that they grow 2.5 times more than the second place, which I think is Colombia, and 15 times more than the U.S. So, what sets Mexican avocados apart from these other countries that produce them?
So our ability to supply avocados 365 days a year sets us apart. We our avocados are known for the four blooms. I
Oh,
think one of the things that is unique to us is the area where avocados from Mexico are grown. And there's two main states, but the biggest state in Mexico that produces and is approved to export to the U.S. is called Michoacan. It's one of the bigger states in Mexico.
Mhm.
That state has something very unique about it, and that is that it has over 80 inactive volcanoes, which actually produce all this rich kind of soil that make it just the perfect kind of give it the perfect ecosystem to grow avocados. And in addition to that, we also have the perfect micro climate where we have pretty much the weather is pretty stable all year round. You don't have these extremes from cold to heat. And that gives us the ability to produce these great tasting, creamy avocados. I will say 60% of our orchards in Michoacan rely solely on rainfall. So it is most of it, it's also a place where it rains a lot. So avocados need rain for them to
Need a lot of
get that
water.
tasty, creamy taste, right? And
Yeah.
and all of that, 60% of that comes from natural irrigation.
Oh,
So that is, yeah, one of the things that make us pretty unique because there's no other place that has those 80 volcanoes that produce that rich soil and
oh
have that
yeah. That's
microclimate.
fantastic.
So yeah,
Let me ask about the four blooms or blossoms. I forget which.
sure.
Four blooms. Now,
Yeah, they're four
does that
blooms.
mean each tree can bloom four times per year, or are they different orchards at different times blooming?
No, so let's talk about the blooms. So they're four blooms. They're interestingly enough, I'll tell you what they're named. We have
Yeah, that's
the
interesting.
Loca, which we call the full bloom, which pretty much goes from July through September. The Aventajada, or what they call the Advantaged, it goes from like September through October. The Normal or Normal, which is the another full bloom that goes from November-ish to through February,
Hmm.
which is the bloom that we're in now, and then the Marseña, which is the March through June fruit. So a tree can have multiple blooms on it. So it's very interesting because trees are blooming all the time, right? And it could
Yeah.
have um, the four blooms on there. So
Okay.
um,
Well, that's fascinating. I'm glad you told us the Spanish names for them. I'll have to look that up, and maybe we'll post something on our website about that to our listeners. Our listeners love to know all about their
fun
food, where it
facts, yeah,
comes from, and
yeah.
little facts and trivia like that are very interesting.
And
So
and
thanks.
that makes more sense because when Henry Avocado was uh instructing me, he s- showed me an off bloom and he's like, this is the one you want. He says, because it's been on the tree a little bit longer, so the oil content's better and it's easy to identify to get the diamond in the rough, if you will.
Hmm. Who's Henry
Yeah.
Avocado, Cynthia? Who's Henry Avocado?
It was he was the
He was one of the
godfather.
top. So Stephanie, you know of Henry Avocado.
Ye-
So, okay,
Yes,
good.
we work with many of our suppliers, so yes.
Yeah, yeah.
So, but is that accurate the way that I understood what he said?
Yes, yeah. I mean, I like what you said about the oil content, because that's something that stands out, I think, about avocados from Mexico is that we have protocols in place to ensure that we pack and ship the highest quality fruit, and we pride ourselves in making sure that the fruit that is shipped to the U.S. meets the minimum standards for oil content. And in many cases, that oil that's in the oil that's in the avocado is what gives it that rich, creamy taste. And our packers will make sure we got the highest oil content in order to ship to the US. But
Yeah,
that's
that's like the
something that,
whole
yeah,
that's everything, right? You don't have that, then you might as well just like not
Well,
even.
yeah. And that brings me to the question about varieties. The Hass, as I understand it, has a quite a bit higher oil content than a lot of other varieties. Am I correct about that? And
I don't know compared to other varieties, but I do know that, we do have a very strict kind of protocols around the oil content that needs to be met for it to
yeah,
be exported into the US.
right.
I think there's some really unique things about that variety and how that variety has come to be, which I could talk about right now,
Yes,
or
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
Please
Go ahead.
enlighten
yeah.
us.
So, yeah, so one of the things that was very interesting, and I didn't know until I actually started working here, because sometimes, you go to the grocery store and you see your fruit and you're like, oh, okay, it tastes great, but you really don't understand everything that's behind it. And I think one of the things that's really neat about the Haas avocado is that it is a fruit that is actually grafted. And I'm not sure if you all know
Oh,
that,
I didn't
but
know that. I know what grafting
yeah.
is, but I didn't realize Hass was primarily grafted. Go
Yeah,
on.
the
Sorry.
Hass avocado, as we know it today, was grafted. So the interesting thing about the Haas is that it is based on an heirloom original avocado called the Criollo. And the Criollo
Criollo.
is an avocado that has very thin skin and it's very creamy. And it exists in Mexico. However, that Criollo doesn't have the ability to be commercialized because of the thin skin. So,
Uh,
as you all know, the Haas was created in California, was an invention, right? That was created back in California. And that invention was brought to Mexico, and it gave Mexico the ability to create the Hass avocado variety that is exported into the US through the grafting of the Hass avocado and the Criollo. The Hass avocado has the thicker, pebbly skin that gives the ability for the fruit to be able to be commercialized.
mm.
And with all the benefits of the Criollo, which is that creamy, rich taste inside the fruit. So that's a little bit of a fun fact, but all the
Yeah, no, that's
trees in
great.
Mexico are grafted. Yeah.
I did not know that about the criollo. Did I say that right? Criollo?
Yeah.
Criollo? Yeah,
Criollo.
I'd never heard that before. That's great. I knew we'd be enlightened, even though we thought we were
Yeah.
avocado experts. It's great.
Yeah, I've actually seen the process. There are nurseries in Mexico that their sole purpose is to graft these trees and are then sold to the growers.
Yeah.
Uh,
Uh,
so
So is
it's
Hass the only variety you export or import?
yes, it is the only variety.
Okay. Well, how many tons or pounds of avocados does Mexico export and we import into the US every year? Do you have that figure?
Yes, yes, we're approximately exporting 2.4 billion pounds of fruit
Wow.
a year. And it is quite impressive because that production, that supply has more than doubled in the last 10 years that I've been working for avocados from Mexico. Um, imports,
Doubled. Doubled.
That's amazing. Like if we made an impact
yeah.
and then, you know, God, I don't even want to count how many years later, you're still making an impact. That's remarkable.
Yeah, so imports increased almost 120% in volume, which I think is pretty impressive during the last 10 years. And not to mention also the value that has, you know, been increasing along with that too. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, it's a very good story I think a lot of consumer packaged goods would love to have the same trajectory and growth in a 10-year period.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, we foresee that there's still a lot of room to grow and that we're not done yet here. So,
Good, good.
America loves avocados.
Oh my gosh. They're just so versatile. And, my child's almost 30, and the eye roll that I get when I go, avocados are the most nutritionally dense fruit there is. And she's like, like she's been hearing this since she's like, yeah, 3 years old.
Yeah, and I can speak a little bit to the just since we're on the talking about the goodness of avocados. Did you know that they're a heart healthy fruit? And did you know that we are classified, our avocados are classified as in the superfood category? So,
Wow.
it is from a health and standpoint, it is a perfect fruit with having multiple health benefits like good fats. They're rich in fiber. They have nearly 20 vitamins and minerals. The list goes on and on, but they're super good for you and for your family. And
But
we
now,
hope,
but now it's versatile. It's not just, back when we were pushing them, it was just guacamole or Mexican food. It wasn't. But when I was in college, my roommates would teach me like, oh no, you put it on the tuna fish sandwich. I'm like, ooh. And then you put it on
yeah.
like you put it on everything. And now, with the it's not just savory. And I made a chocolate pudding. And honest to God, you you might go, this is good. Like there's something a little amiss about it, but it's chocolatey. It has a nice, luxurious, dense viscosity like a pudding, and it's made with avocado.
Yeah, I mean, to your point, I'm so glad you brought that up. The number one way consumers learn of avocados is through guacamole. That is by far the number one core usage. But one of the things that I think helped expand the category was our ability, our strategy to really expand beyond just guacamole. And we see that there's a huge opportunity to, given the versatility of the fruit, to expand into other core uses. And we have a focus on expanding onto, for example, handhelds. There's a huge upside just to get avocados on, for example, on American sandwiches, if you will, or even Mexican dishes, or even burgers. That there's a huge, like I said, there's a huge opportunity just to just put either it's slicers or guacamole to enhance, that core usage. Salads is another one.
Yes.
Almost, what's a salad without
Yes, yes.
avocados on it?
And then I
So,
think the ability that
um,
it's with the consistency, it could be almost a condiment insofar as skip the mayo and you could smear some avocado on it and
yeah.
you still have the satisfaction
Yeah.
of a condiment.
Especially when if you look at commercial mayonnaise and the bad oils that are in those commercial mayonnaise, and you're trying to be healthier, it's great as a substitute for mayonnaise on a sandwich.
Yeah, we call them the swaps. So yeah, avocados are actually a great swap out, right? When you're preparing certain dishes, even in salad dressings, for example, like, add avocado. There's so many, it's so versatile, the fruit, that you can not only just make guacamole with it, but it can be used even in baking, for example, which I found to be very unusual 10 years ago when I came on board. And the first day on the job, I clearly remember this. There was a platter of brownies on the conference room table, and someone said, "You need to try these." And it's like, okay, some brownies. And I picked up a brownie and ate it, and I did not know that they were made with avocados. If you would not have told me, I would not have known. But that's just a great example of how you can use avocados to, you know, swap out some other ingredients and make it better for you and even maintain the great taste. I would not have known the difference if you didn't tell me. So,
I think that it's a great the avocado ego, if you will, is very happy to be a support in a support role. It doesn't have to be the star of the dish, and that's why it can morph into savory or sweet.
correct. Yeah.
What
Re-
else is in those brownies besides the avocado?
Chocolate. So,
Most importantly,
It would probably take the place of butter or an oil.
correct.
Is that on your website? The
Uh,
avocado.
I'd have to go check, but I do believe we have a brownie recipe on there.
It's avocadosfrommexico.com, correct?
Yes.
There's a lot of great information there, some entertaining things as well. And we'll get to that. Well, let's just go to that now. If we're through with the other things, which I think we are, it's Super Bowl weekend coming up now. And I understand you've got some, as always. I mean, I think the avocados from Mexico Super Bowl ads over the years have been the funniest, in my opinion. Just fantastic. And this year, you've got some new things to surprise the viewers. Tell us about what's going on there.
Yes, we're very excited this year. Well, first off, let me talk a little bit about the big game. It's the number one occasion for avocados and guacamole, as you all know. And we, as avocados from Mexico, we're responsible for about 95% of the avocado sales in the US, leading up to the Super Bowl. And some
Wow.
fun facts for you. One container of avocados leaves the packing house for the border every 6 to 7 minutes. So that's how many avocados come to the US. There's approximately 250 million pounds of avocados that are imported during this time period. And just to give you some perspective, it's enough to cover a football field with more than 75 feet of guacamole. That's a lot of avocados.
75 feet
high,
Deep?
right? Deep.
Yes.
deep.
Feet. Yeah.
You could fill an
So-
entire stadium.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty intense. So this year we're really proud to be partnering with football legend Rob Gronkowski. We think he's a perfect fit for the brand with his blend of versatility, humor. It's just he really helps exemplify the fun times that the brand can bring to life during the Super Bowl. We have a myriad of activations and programs that are taking place right now. From an in-store perspective, Rob Gronkowski, you'll see if you haven't been to a store near you, we have displays in store with Rob Gronkowski where he's promoting both bulk and bagged avocados. We have a rebate offer that we're providing to our shoppers who purchase the bags. And then,
let me stop you there. Can you give us the
Yeah.
details on that? What's the rebate offer? That sounds good.
yeah. So yeah, the rebate offer is when you buy a bag of avocados from Mexico featuring Rob Gronkowski, you can receive $1.50 rebate for
Oh.
buying the bag of avocados.
Fantastic.
Yeah, you purchase the bag, upload a receipt, and $1.50 will be deposited into your Venmo or PayPal account.
Wow, that's great. Okay, I interrupted you. It sounded like you had a few other things you're going to tell us about, but I wanted to get that one in.
Yeah, no, that is definitely at a store near you, at a participating store near you. And so Gronk, if you haven't been following us on socials, Gronk has been an excellent partner to work with. He's been doing a myriad of activities, including the Gronkamole Challenge. So that was a video event that was hosted by Gronk himself. It was actually last night. And he was able to engage with our audience through, some fun content and really help promote, and inspire the eating of guacamole through his special recipe, Gronkamole.
Okay, I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah.
It sounds like guacamole. That's clever.
Guacamole, yeah. So he has a special guacamole called Gronkamole, which is a buffalo guac. And that recipe also, we can make that available to you so you can post it. But it's fun. And we hope everyone enjoys some guacamole for the Super Bowl.
So buffalo guac. That sounds like it's got maybe buffalo wings type sauce or seasonings.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Yeah. Great.
So, excuse me. So, Rick, for the brownies, it's 4 large eggs, 1 cup of sugar, dark chocolate chips, 8 ounces, dark cocoa powder, vanilla. They use whole wheat flour, 2 each avocado from Mexico, large. I don't know if that's is that large like a 36 or is that large
Large,
like
48.
okay, 48s. And then walnuts if you want to
Oh,
add
interesting.
nuts.
Yeah. And so I understand also that you got an AI Gronk working for you
Yeah.
that people can play
Yes.
around with.
Yes, and you're leveraging the AI trends. We do have a Gronk AI that I don't know if you've seen, but I'm sure we can send that to you all. Where I think
Yeah.
I could probably send you a little bit more information on the Gronk AI.
Yeah, I found it, but I decided just to call him directly. And and he's calling me. Oh, wait, he's calling me back right now. Can you hold on? Let me see if I can get this call before he goes off. Hold on. Okay. Let me know if you can hear this. Okay. I've got to answer this. Can you hear that?
Okay.
This is Gronk at the guac line. What's going on, Edwin?
Not much, Gronk. So great to talk to you. Man, you're looking good.
Thanks.
Please say hello to my fellow produce buzzers, Teresa, Rick, and Cynthia.
What's going on, Teresa? What's going on, Rick? What's going on, Cynthia?
Well, we just called because we heard you had some great guacamole recipes, very unique ones. Can you share some of those?
Let's get you a guac recipe. Every winning recipe starts with avocados from Mexico. From there, you can mix up the ingredients, the heat, and the flavors. How are your guac making skills, Edwin?
Oh, my guac making skills are superb, Gronk.
Got it. Here we go. Spicy mango serrano guacamole. Sounds like a winner. You can download it once we hang up. What do you think? Is this recipe a game day contender?
Yeah, that sounds great. I love the serranos. That will spice it up.
Let us know how it turns out when you try it.
Where can our listeners get it?
Find it at biggameguac.com.
Great. We'll be sure to look for it. Hey, Gronk, thanks for joining us on the podcast today.
Thanks for calling the guac line. Gronk and avocados from Mexico are out.
All right. Take care, Gronk.
That was a lot of fun.
I had a little fun with the editing that. So I hope you enjoyed that. Yeah. So they can, what is it? biggameguac.com, where you can get all those recipes and you can play around. Gronk will talk to you using your name on the AI place too. So anyway, all right. So I don't want to take your whole day, but I do want to get some more tips, some expert tips from you for our listeners. What are the most important things for consumers to know about avocados, especially about selecting them, storing them, and that kind of thing, which they can be tricky.
They can be, but it's not that hard. We think it's rather easy if you just have a little bit of some tips and tricks, right? So
Right.
so how can you pick a really good avocado? So we like to promote or say that when you're looking for an avocado, you're not only looking for color, but you're also looking for the way the avocado feels. So typically, a darker avocado tends to be a little bit riper, but you have to feel the avocado to ensure that the avocado is ripe, because there could be times of the year where the avocado is dark, but it is more firm, not necessarily ripe. So we say that color is not the best determinant of ripeness. You have to actually not only look for color, but also through touch determine if it's ripe. So if it yields to gentle pressure, then you've selected a avocado that's ready for now.
Yeah.
If you're looking for an avocado, say 3 days from now, the same applies. You look for an avocado that might be a little bit greener. You pick it up to the touch when it's firmer. It's an avocado that could be ready in 3 to 4 days. You take it home. You leave it either out on a counter. You can actually put it in a bag with a banana or an apple to speed up the ripeness. Or if you want to hold, let's say, an avocado that you selected that is ripe in the store, and you decided, you know what, maybe I want to eat it now, 2, 3 days from now, you can actually put it in the refrigerator to help slow down the ripening of the avocado and check it daily. And yeah, those are some tips there for how to manage and store your avocados. I will give one more tip, and it's always what to do. I always get this question. So I've eaten half the avocado. What do I do with the other half?
Yeah.
And obviously, we hate for people to waste the other half of the avocados. We want to make sure that they're maximizing the benefit of the avocado that they purchase. So we recommend that they either sprinkle a little bit of olive oil or some lemon juice, and then wrap it in some plastic wrap very tightly and put it in the refrigerator, and that will hold a few days.
Right. Keep that air away from it with the plastic
Yeah,
wrap.
so it keeps it from oxidizing.
Yeah, the lime juice or olive oil helps that as well. I wanted to go back to the gentle pressure thing because I see so many avocados in the store that have been mashed, big thumbprints in them. And I just would like to emphasize gentle pressure, people.
Gentle, yes.
You really don't need to push hard on them to know that they're soft. There was one other trick that we used to tell the retailers when we were merchandising is that if the little stem and the stem end, if the button is there, if that pops off, it's ready to go too. Is that correct? What would you say about that?
Yeah, actually, if the stem pops off, it actually accelerates the ripening of
Oh, okay.
So actually, you should look for avocados that have the stem on them if
Okay.
you want to kind of hold the fruit.
Yeah, that was a question I had. I thought, if does that pop off, now it's going to decay faster or maybe get faster than you want.
And we
Ripen
need to
faster.
emphasize that even though you can store them in the refrigerator, you definitely want to wait till it's ripe before you put it in there. Because if you put them in there before they're ripened, you'll get chill damage and they'll be kind of grayish throughout the avocado. Not a pretty picture.
Good point.
You know,
And you,
and
go
then
ahead.
if you don't happen to have, like, well, usually everybody have olive oil, whether you have a lime
Lemon
or
juice,
something.
yeah.
I just, yeah, I will just put it in a container and then, but I'll leave the seed in that side just to protect also the flesh. And then when I go to use it, I will just like gently scrape off the top, and then underneath is perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's 100% correct. If you put it in an air sealed tight container, that'll also work.
Yeah.
And you
Now-
could use avocado oil as well as olive oil.
That's true. It will help the flavor a bit. You know, what I do is I tend to buy them in a bag, bulk, but I'm by myself, so I can't eat them that quickly. But if I let them get to the ripeness that I like, which is not too ripe, just softening, I have put them in the refrigerator and kept them for up to a month without them decaying too much. Uh, have you had that experience? Did I dream that?
Well, I don't know about a month. I mean, I think it just varies, right? So what
Yeah.
we say is, you can hold them up to 7 days, just for the quality. But yeah, I mean, could be that maybe you
Yeah.
have some that last a month, but for the most part, it's up to a week.
Well, I usually eat them pretty fast anyway, so I don't need to keep them for a month. But I get the same result with bananas, by the way.
Do you
They'll
recommend freezing avocado?
freeze
sorry, I
them.
don't
Yeah.
know.
Good. No, go ask. That's a good question. Go ahead, Rick.
Do you recommend freezing avocados? Because I know you can get avocados frozen in the grocery store.
We,
store.
Yeah, we do not recommend freezing avocados just because it breaks down the quality of the fruit. And then you don't have that same flavor that a avocado that is fresh gives you.
Okay.
Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah, I have kept them in the refrigerator myself for a month at a time, and I'm not recommending that consumers do this, but
Yeah.
they will last quite a while if it's a good, healthy avocado.
Well, we hope they're eating, like to Edwin's point, a lot of them quickly.
Yeah,
They're so good.
that's definitely the
Right.
best way because they will decline in flavor and other things, I think, if you keep them around too long. Never been a problem for me. Well, this has been really fun, interesting. Do you have any other uh, tips or things you want our listeners to know about avocados that maybe they haven't heard
Yeah,
before?
I think just on one note, I think that's I wanted to share some recent reporting around our imports and the impact that we have to the US and the Mexican economy. The story of avocados from Mexico, it's a win-win outcome and has a great socioeconomic impact for both countries. For example, in 2024, our economic output was 7.5 billion in the US.
Wow.
Not only do we have that great story on economic output, but it's also has impact in terms of the number of jobs in the US, creating over 42,000 jobs here in the US and nearly 70,000 jobs in Mexico. So really,
Wow.
it's a win-win for both countries.
Yeah. Well, that's great. That's good to hear.
We are represented by 200 suppliers, and
Okay.
so they will pack, avocados from Mexico, or other countries of origin as well. They have to disclose the
Where
name of
it's
their
origin.
company and yeah, the source and so forth. So
Yeah. Yeah.
you'll see that on packaging.
Okay. Well, we've taken a lot of your time, but I think we have one more thing we demand of you. We have a ritual that all our guests have to go through here on the
Okay.
Produce Buzzers podcast. And I hate to tell you, but it's painful. It's very painful.
Hmm.
Here's the deal. Now, Teresa loves puns, and she's always finding puns about fruits and veggies for our podcast. And we feature them in this segment called Home Grown.
Oh.
Ah.
Because the puns are so bad, they're not funny. There's no laughing allowed. You just have to groan.
Oh,
So,
grown.
so you have to listen to this pun and be punished. Get it? Punished with
Got
this
it.
pun. It's painful, but you have to go through it. It's a requirement. Now, so usually her pun is in the form of a question, and she'll give us the question, and we try to guess what's the punny answer. So she'll tell us a question. We'll take a few seconds to see if we can guess. You can try to guess. And
Hmm.
then if we don't get it, she'll tell us. So you ready?
Yeah, let's go.
Okay. Okay, Produce Buzzers podcast fans, it's time for your favorite segment on the Produce Buzzers podcast. Yes, it's time for Home Grown.
Uh,
Yes, it's time to be punished. Teresa, what's the homegrown of the day?
well, there were these two very large, very woolly female sheep, and they are also known as ewes, discussing their love of avocados from Mexico. And the first one talked about the vitamins and minerals and that it was a superfood. But she said, I'm really concerned about getting fatter. And so I'm worried about eating anymore. And what did the second sheep reply?
Okay, let's think this through. All right, so the two ewes, sheep, female sheep, discussing their love of avocados from Mexico. And one of them said, "Oh, they're so healthy, but I'm concerned. I'm eating so many, I'm going to get fat." What did their friend reply? Any guesses out there, Rick? Come on, you're usually pretty good at this.
You're already fat?
I got one. How about you're a good fat?
Yeah. That's good. See, we didn't even groan at that. That was just very glad. You're the good kind of fat.
So it's not like pull the wool over it and don't worry about it.
Well, I never good at guessing these, so let's just get to the answer. What did she say to her friend?
She said, as Cynthia reminded us, but it's the good fat. And besides, use not fat, use just fluffy.
Oh.
Boo.
Oh,
Did you say fluffy?
Yes.
Oh, man. Oh, sorry, Stephanie.
you
She was
just-
feeling badly to begin with.
Yeah.
That was punishment, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Funny. Always
Yeah,
good to have a good pun.
Yeah. Well, it was good of you to come and to be with us today. We really appreciate your time. We appreciate your expertise. You enlightened us, as I thought you would. And we've learned a lot about avocados from Mexico. And listeners, avocadosfrommexico.com. Go visit it. You'll find a lot of helpful information, entertaining things there, great recipes. Stephanie, thank you so much. I hope we can have you
you.
back again sometime.
Yeah, I love it. I enjoyed the past hour with you all, and hope you all have a great big bowl of guac for the big game.
Certainly will. I love to make my guacamole.
Great.
All right. Well, thank you again. And we will talk to you soon, I hope.
Likewise. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Well, thank you, listeners, for tuning in to the Produce Buzzers podcast, brought to you by Produce Buzz, the gathering place for lovers of fresh fruits and veggies. We hope you were entertained a bit and educated a lot about fresh produce. Be sure to join us next time, and please tell your friends to do so as well. Like, share, and comment on our Produce Buzz Facebook page, and check out our website at www.producebuzz.com. There you will find articles about fresh fruits and veggies, how to select, store, and prepare them, as well as lots of interesting facts about all the wonderful bounty the earth provides for us. Until next time, be fruitful and don't forget to veg out.